Good morning. My clock says it's 8 o'clock and we're going to get this going. Welcome to the second day of the Nevada Wildlife Commission meeting in Las Vegas. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Commissioner Rain, will you lead us? Okay, Suzanne, can you do the roll call of the commission? Here. Commissioner McNish will be coming in late. Okay, can we have the County Advisory Board's president stand up and introduce themselves? Okay, we have approval agenda for item 13. We changed the agenda around a little bit yesterday. Anybody have anything on the agenda? Seeing none, it is an action item. Anybody in the audience have anything on the agenda? Seeing none, move to approve today's agenda, or motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Member announcements and correspondence. Anybody have any updates that they want to get in? Commissioner Rain?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have 3 items. One of which was interesting. I had some correspondence, and it's interesting, we hadn't heard about this from either the department or the legal staff, but I was under the understanding that we might have some issues with the legality of some of the board. Commissioner Vogler of this commission, it's my understanding that he was never removed, never received any correspondence. He's been removed, and nor did he ever quit from this commission. Simply was written off, and there's currently litigation underneath that, and this board might want to consider asking for legal representation. What happens if the case that is going forward does indeed bear fruit, shall we say, on Commissioner Vogler's behalf, and would that invalidate every action this commission has taken from the point at which he allegedly was somehow illegally removed, although he stated that he had never received any communication that he had indeed been fired, removed for cause or whatever. That has indeed never happened. Still has a commission valid through for several more months on this commission. So that might be something that might come to bite this commission later on, and his lawsuit might not, the legal action, I should say, might not bear fruit. But we had not heard that from the department nor legal staff. And I know that other boards that he's a member of has had totally different legal advice. And a lot of this involved, my understanding is that he had some severe issues with cancer specifically, and was not in a condition to attend a few meetings for a little while, but suddenly shows back, claim he's off, and that's illegal, according to the lawsuits going forward, my understanding. Something to think about, and maybe legal staff are going to jump in on that at some point. A couple other things. I had something from a Nevada Alliance for Wildlife was asking some questions. I said they had asked the department and gotten no response, and that was specifically over some budget items from 4 projects that were heritage projects. 1026, 2027, 1019, or excuse me, 1119 and 1120 for the record. And those were the NDOW monitoring monies that he agreed to take out of the monetary money that he was awarded from the commission over 2 separate years for the 1026 for the mule deer protection project with NDOW monitoring budget of $20,000. The 1027 predation controlled improved sage-grouse nesting success, there was an NDOW monitoring budget of $10,000. 1119 mule deer project, a protection project, there was $11,000 monitoring budget. And of the 1120 project, which is predation controlled improved sage-grouse nesting success, the NDOW monitoring budget was $10,000. He'd requested, I understand, several times to see how that money was spent, what the accounting was for that, because basically he's directly responsible for those projects, and yet he gets no response, and he should have indeed anyone from the public should have a full accounting of how those monies were spent.
And
Were they spent, if so, and where?
Commissioner Rain, I believe we do have agenda item number 17F on Heritage project reports.
Okay, so
Some of those
perhaps
things
that will be covered
we
there?
could probably ask during that time.
Okay, and hopefully at some point we'll also, I don't know if that report's going to cover all of the projects. Is that going to go on in that report?
Well, if you have questions
Okay.
during that time on Heritage projects, I think we
Okay,
can.
so I'll withhold any further questions on that particular subject. And just my 2 cents on mule deer is, it's interesting. This time of year and for the next month and a half, in the last month since the last meeting, it's really been thick. Get a lot of people in, and it's very interesting, the different responses I get. I run into several people every day talking about these issues. And, number of hunters do seem to be wondering why we're giving out all these tags. And, there's 2 reasons I get. One is they're wondering, why are we congesting up these areas so bad? Specifically Elko, you get a lot about up there in the various Area 10 units, and thereby reducing the quality of the hunt. And others simply wondering, what's going on? Why are we trying to remove the deer population in some of these areas? There must be some good reason to remove the deer population, so I guess we're removing them, is the perception that's out there from basically what I've been hearing. And as I was saying, I never really got out last time because I ran out of time there, was that this year, it's likely we're probably going to see during this rifle season some really nice deer taken as a direct result of last year's reduction in tags. But next year, it's going to be a whole separate thing. It's going to be pretty poor out there from what I've been looking and hearing. And I'm sure that we'll hear some of the typical reasoning, excuses, whatever, habitat, drought, maybe too many cows or something as a reason, but the reason's likely to be, and should be brought up at that time, we're probably overhunting these deer in many units. Not all, but many of the units of the state. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything? Commissioner McBath.
Isn't this the spot where you do correspondence as well?
Yes.
I got a letter from David Peck on his antelope hunt on the Sheldon, I believe. And I think the gist of it is he'd like to get his another tag, but he actually went on his hunt, but his complaint is he didn't get notice in time. So just acknowledge that we received that letter. I'm not sure what we can do. Maybe somebody from the department needs to let him know what his rights are as far as appealing the decision, or if he wants to file a petition of some type. I don't know. But is somebody going to answer this letter, Director Merrill? Yeah. Okay. That's it for me.
Okay. Commissioner Drew.
Yeah, just yesterday in the trapping committee report, I did forget to mention and acknowledge Ron Lurie, who served on the committee as a member from Clark County, past public representative to this commission. He did resign. He was at our Reno meeting and then resigned for some personal reasons, but we did want to acknowledge his work and efforts. And Chief Bonamici is in the audience. I know there was a question on our regulation pertinent to SB 226 and the status of that. And maybe you could provide just a quick update as far as that goes.
Rob?
Good morning. For the record, Chief Game Warden Robb Bonamici. With regards to SB 226, the initial regulation that was done as a result of SB 226, that regulation went through the process through the commission, adopted by the commission, and then I believe it was last Friday, there was a legislative commission meeting where that regulation goes through the final process, the final phase. And at that meeting, it was brought up that NDOW failed to properly fill out the questionnaire that goes along with the regulations. And the questionnaire is in the format of, what's the economic impact to businesses, economic impact to users, etc. And then the overall anticipated revenue and expenditures associated with the regulation. So what we had done and had been doing for 20 plus years is, if we felt that it didn't apply in that situation, we would put in NA for not applicable. And the argument was made that we were basically thumbing our nose at the process, and NA really meant that it didn't apply to us. We didn't feel the law applied to us, and we didn't feel we had to fill out the form, which was, I made perfectly clear that was not the case at all. We just felt that in that case it didn't apply to us. There were two other regulations that were being heard at the same time. They were both related to aquatic invasive species. And on one of those regulations, we indeed failed to meet. I truly believe we did fail to meet the intent of the law or the letter of the law, both. We just somehow, didn't properly put in the revenue base for the AIS decal and the expenditures associated with running that program. So that was a valid complaint, if it's so to say. So based on that, I argued that that one should be, pulled, and we would do that correctly and correct our deficiencies. And with regards to the other two, the other AIS one and the trapping, that, there really weren't deficiencies there. But they held all three, deferred them all to December meeting. There is a potential, once we make those corrections and put it in the format that they want, they don't want NA anymore, they want a reason why it doesn't apply. So we'll comply with those requests, submit it, resubmit them, and there is a potential for a subcommittee of the Legislative Commission to review them prior to December. So it's our hopes that we can pull that off and get them done soon, because not only does it affect the trapping regulation, it affects the aquatic invasive species decal program, and we're sending out boat registrations in November, and we're trying to make it user-friendly where the AIS decals go out with the boat registration, and our constituents can purchase everything in one shot. So that's the status of that.
Thank you, Rob. Anybody else have anything? Seeing none, we'll close that agenda item. We'll move on to 15.